Hi everyone, welcome to the Confident Hypnotherapist podcast. And this week I'm so honored and delighted to have the wonderful Victoria Gallagher with us. If you haven't heard of Victoria Gallagher, then I don't think you're in the hypnotherapy community. It's as simple as that. Let's have a look here. 22 years in the industry, over 500 audio programs, 20 audio books, has developed the Hypno app, which obviously is a hypnosis app for smartphones. Number one best-selling author for, with a couple of books, including the Ultimate Weight Loss Power Hypnotherapy Script book, which I have to say for $8 is just an absolute must if you're going to be in that space. And the Practical Law of Attraction, which was the number one bestseller. I feel almost like I need a rest after all those stats there. Victoria, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is quite an honor also to receive all those accolades and to be to be a guest on your show. I'm really honored. Thank you so much.
No, I'm curious. You've been in hypnotherapy now for 22 years. What led you to come to the world of hypnotherapy in the first place?
Well, it was interesting. So, my background is actually as a financial consultant,
Mhm.
and I had been doing that for about 6 or so years as an actual financial consultant. I'd been in the industry much longer, and I guess you could say I kind of outgrew it.
Mm.
Like, when I first got into that business, it was like such an amazing, like, wow, I'm a stockbroker now. It just really felt like, and then you get in there and you actually do it, and you win a few awards, and you get the corner office, and you make all the money, and you kind of realize, like, is this all there
Is
is
that all
to
there
this?
is? Yeah.
And, so I wasn't feeling fulfilled, but I didn't understand that. Like, I really, in that moment when I was realizing, like, I'm just stressed out, I just need a break, like, whatever. I didn't think for a moment that I was going to ever change careers. I literally still thought like I was going to retire in that, because honestly, I couldn't really imagine myself in any other business until I started taking some personal development classes, these weekend trainings where you go in and you rewire your brain,
Mhm.
and you learn what attracts you, and you learn how to apply law of attraction. You learn hypnosis without realizing that that's what you're learning.
Mhm.
You learn meditation, you learn visualization, all of these things. And it was just a no-brainer. After the end of a few of those courses, I realized this is the work that
Mm.
I want to do. I want to teach this work to people. I want to help people have these kinds of breakthroughs. But I still didn't quite know that that was going to mean that I was going to become a hypnotherapist.
Mhm.
I actually do everything backward, because now a lot of people are, after 22 years, a lot of people are working on creating their content, their recordings, their online courses. Well, I was just kind of like the Wizard of Oz.
You were a
I
trailblazer in that regards. Yes,
Yeah. Well, when I say
absolutely.
that, like, I didn't mean to be a trailblazer. To
Mm.
be perfectly honest with you, I was really shy, and I liked making the recordings, and I didn't really want to put my face out there. I didn't really.
Oh, so was the recording like I want to do this, but I don't want to be seen, so I'm going to do the recordings instead?
Yes, that way
Wow.
I can edit myself,
Hmm.
and I can make it perfect, and nobody will know if I mess up and have to say something a few times. And so I could present how I wanted to come across to the world. And I did that for many years. Now, I also at the same time, so when I did eventually get certified, become a hypnotherapist, I decided, okay, what? I am going to open an office.
Mm.
I didn't know that I was going to do that at the time, but how could you help it when you go through hypnotherapy training school and you get your hands on the students that you're hypnotizing, and you do all of your practicing and all of that to get certified as a hypnotherapist? I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing people in an office. They're telling me their problems anyway. I might as well just go ahead and open a hypnotherapy office and see people for what I really want to help them with, because I was helping people with money. But at the same time, when people would come to me, they wanted to talk about more than just their money.
Mm.
And so, so it just seemed like a real natural evolution for me to move away from being a stockbroker to being a hypnotherapist, helping people with more of the mental aspect of things and the emotional aspect of things. That's what I really wanted to do, and to help people to have that elated feeling when they make a change, when they realize what they can do with the power of their mind. It was just amazing.
Mm.
And so that ultimately that was back in 1999 when I was forced to quit my job as a stockbroker. Literally, like, when I say forced, I mean I had to make a decision.
Yeah, you're at
And
a crossroads.
I was at a crossroads, and I had to, like, literally jump into the deep end of the water, um, because without a paddle, without a boat, without knowing how to swim or any of that,
How was that
without
experience
a
for
single
you?
client. Oh, it was
Because that
it was
sounds daunting.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
It was daunting. It was overwhelming, and like, literally, I quit my jobs permanently July 1st of 1999. And we're coming up on that 22 years. So yeah, literally July 1st, 1999. And then by November, I was in the hospital with a lung collapse with no insurance.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, my whole life just kind of flipped upside
Yeah.
down,
You must have had
you know.
moments of wondering, is the universe trying to tell me something right now?
It was. And,
Mm.
here was the thing. So I went through this transformation in 1998. So between 1998 to 1999, that's what it took. That year and a half is what it took just to get me to the point where I can have the confidence to quit my job, even though I don't have a single client or a single dollar coming in profit. I was making a little money online, but it wasn't profitable. I had way more expenses than I had income coming in. And so what I realized was a very superficial level of confidence. I hadn't integrated the work yet, and I didn't know that until about midway through 2001, when I kind of had a nervous breakdown, and I kind of realized, okay, why did I do all this? Like, why did I leave a 6-figure a year job to just, like, hate my hate my life, and run out of all my money and all of that. And what I realized was that this is so embarrassing, so embarrassing. But as I had been doing the work up until the day I quit my job, I'd been doing the transformational work, and continuing to, rewire my mind and reprogram my mind. But I'd never worked on my money beliefs. I never really worked
Right.
on my deservability. I never really worked on, any of the limits that I could really do that. Like, so that's what I mean by I had a very surface level of confidence, but I didn't have the real real deep I wasn't integrated with it. And so that's one of the things that that really got me to thinking about why so many people fail to create what they want. And it is because there are hidden beliefs way below the level of your awareness that prohibit you from getting what you want until you deal with those beliefs. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go back to childhood or do regression or do parts therapy or do all of that stuff. It just means that you need to acknowledge that they are there, realize and recognize that they're there, and then learn the triggers of what of when you notice those beliefs are there. You notice them through your vocabulary, the things that are happening. You notice through just for me, what I realized was that I kind of the way that it presented itself was all the little things that kept going wrong. I blamed the outside world on that. I blamed it. I'm like, the universe is just working against me. Something is out there holding me back. I even thought for a little while somebody had cast a spell on me. I mean, so I wasn't taking ownership or responsibility for the fact that I'm creating all of this. And it was like, I almost like got this outside view of myself one day, the day that I had my nervous breakdown, the day that everything turned around. It was like somehow or another I was able to like observe myself from an objective point of view. Almost like it wasn't an out of body experience, but it was like that. And it was like, I'm like, look at you. Like, this isn't you. This isn't the confident Victoria. What's happening? Why are you acting like such a victim? And I had to kind of call myself out on how I was creating that. But the thing is like, even though that moment, that moment of true honesty, that moment of like really becoming hyper aware, it wasn't like to beat up on myself. It was probably the most loving thing that I could have ever done for myself, was to recognize this is all my creation. If I created that, then guess what? I can create anything.
That self-reflection about those things that we do that just create the reality we exist in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was just probably the most empowering, powerful moment of my life to realize that. And like literally, so I went from where I was still like in the hole, not making ends meet, for the first year and a half that I was on my own as an entrepreneur. From there to maybe the next 6 months is what it took, from that point forward to have my first profitable month. And of course, from there, everything, completely skyrocketed. And I, and when I say skyrocketed, I mean, everything, I became self-sufficient, and I was able to, really truly make a living at this. And then, many years later is when, I was able to start writing books and start speaking, and it was all just kind of a process and an evolution. I feel in a way it was like a slow process. But it's interesting though, because many people, like, you look at a lot of like people that seemingly had some kind of an overnight success. But if you really look back at everything that they went through, it was about 20 years that it took them to get to from point A, to super successful. And I'm not labeling myself as that yet.
There's still
I
time.
think there's still time. So, so that's my story in a nutshell, in a big nutshell.
That's amazing. And to hear that you did have that period of honest self-reflection, and that was capable of making amazing transformation is really inspiring. Is that related? Because I know that you are, the queen of the law of attraction. Your number one best-selling book. I believe it's available on Audible as well. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have it. So,
Yes, it is.
yeah. So there's lots of ways in which people can get it. How has the law of attraction, or how can people use the law of attraction to better who they are as a hypnotist?
Well, so I very much, because of the way that I got into hypnotherapy, I believe that, hypnosis and the law of attraction are very interrelated.
Mm.
Because ultimately, what we're doing with hypnosis is we're ultimately rewiring the brain. We're changing the brain. We're causing people to think about things in a way that serves them better. And that's exactly what's required in order to make the law of attraction work for you. The law of attraction is always working because you're ultimately creating your reality based on a certain set of thoughts, beliefs,
Yeah.
ideas, imagination, feelings. All of that is creating your reality, just like I was creating my reality. So we use hypnosis to simply change the reality that we are creating by changing the way that we're thinking, feeling, and imagining. So
Mm.
they really work together hand in hand. And I go as far as to say, because there's still hypnotists out there who don't believe in the law of attraction.
Mm.
And I say, well, if you don't believe in the law of attraction, you're probably not really understanding exactly what it is that you're doing with the
Mm.
brain, because it is all about what you get, what you focus on is
Yeah.
what you get, what
It's
you
like
put
the
your
reticular
focus on.
activation.
It really is.
Mm.
It really is. And there's nothing all too mysterious about it. It was interesting because, like, when I wrote my book, Practical Law of Attraction, keep in mind the key word of that, because there's other books about law of attraction,
Mm.
but mine is called Practical
Practical.
Law of Attraction. And when I was first coming up with that name, I passed it by a few people, and they're like, I don't. It sounds like a boring. It doesn't, it doesn't sound very exciting. It sounds a little boring. And so I really had to just say, you know what? No, I intuitively know this is the right name for that book. I'm not going to let anybody talk me out of this, because there were some people who were like, it sounds like I can't think of it sounds like a reference book, or it sounds
Mm.
like and I'm like, well, in a way it kind of is. But the thing is that everything is practical. It's literally, I take all the magic out of it and really break it down to, this is how you change your brain. This is how you change your vibration. This is how you take inspired action. This is where you receive inspired action, inspiration from, in order to take inspired action. This is why gratitude works. And I really explain it in a way that anybody and everybody who reads this book, if they read it, they will understand it. And if they do it and apply it, they will get results. There's no way to not get results.
Mm.
And, the only way to not get results is to not do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's extremely to me, hypnosis and law of attraction are very, very much, related. Kind of like we don't go to a different place in our mind necessarily. Like when we meditate,
Mm.
um, we go to the same place in our mind. It's just the activity that we're doing there might be a little bit different. It might be, we might be going to a lighter area versus a deeper area,
Mm.
and where I like to call meditation, really accessing more like the alpha area,
Hmm.
and hypnosis accessing a little bit more the theta
Yeah, yeah.
area, and that's the state of receptivity.
Mm.
And so, anyway, so the that's a little bit about the book, and how how I got into law of attraction and hypnosis,
Mm.
and how they're all ultimately create they're ultimately interrelated,
Mm.
interconnected.
I know that you often mentor a lot of people around hypnosis and I guess business success as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
What do you find are the common things that people sabotage themselves with, and what general advice would you offer to them?
Yeah, so usually the self-sabotage, part of it is, just part of it is just having that lack of clear focus.
Hmm.
I think so often that's like the number one thing, is that, and I struggle with it a little bit myself, where you try to do too many things,
At
where
once, yeah.
at once.
Mm.
One of the common things I think with hypnotists, and I work with a lot of hypnotists on my power. I'm sorry, the pro, passive prop. There's too many P's. Passive profit and prosperity program,
Mhm.
and then when people get that program, there's also an opportunity to do some coaching with me, and so I've coached a lot of hypnotherapists on creating their own business, whether it be an online business. Usually I focus a little bit more on the online side, since
Mhm.
that's what I have the experience doing. And a lot of people are intrigued by that. And so, just asking people like, so what area do you want to specialize in? And it's like, well, I want to do weight loss and anxiety, and help people overcome their fears and phobias, and smoking. And okay, that's not specializing.
Mm. That's a general
you
list,
know,
basically. Yeah.
that's being, very general.
Mm.
And so, but then on top of that, it's just even just making the time to, to work on your business.
Mm.
If you want to, when I first started out, and just I can kind of relate it to like when I first started out, I looked at, being a hypnotherapist as a full-time job. I have 40 hours in the week. And so I'm going to be seeing, if I'm seeing a client, and let's just call it 2 hours to see the client, because you've got the time before the
Hmm.
session itself, and then the time after. So let's just say you've got a block of 2 hours. You're going to see that person, and if you're going to work 40 hours a week, and you're only seeing one client that whole week, guess what your job is for 38 hours? Your job
Yep.
for 38 hours is to market yourself,
Mm.
and to figure, and so, a lot of times, people they sabotage themselves because of poor time management, or thinking that they have this abundance of time, and not being extremely disciplined. It takes a serious amount of focused discipline, in order to create a full-time business for yourself.
Mm.
And you get to a point where you're doing it for 15, 20 hours a week. And that takes a lot of energy.
Hmm.
Even if you're seeing two clients a day, those two clients a day can really wipe you out if you're not taking care of your energy. And so, so that can also, you can get stuck there. You can get stuck there if you're not taking that extra, few hours a day to now turn around and work on the marketing aspect of things. And so, so between marketing, between seeing clients, and then also on top of that, just working on, I think part of the reason why people don't market themselves is down deep inside,
Yep.
they don't believe that they're good enough. And so it
Spot
is
on.
hard to toot your horn and market yourself that come see me, I'm going to change your life, if you don't really believe
If
that
you don't
you
believe you're going to
are.
be able to do it. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. So then that's where, another part of your day just really needs to be spent honing your skills. And I say that with caution because you have the honing your skills, but then people's, they get all these certifications after certification after certification after certification. They keep getting certified in multiple things, but then they never actually pull the trigger and do the marketing aspect of it. And so, so many certifications doesn't give you the confidence, it just gives you more knowledge. And there's a difference between confidence and knowledge. You at some point just have to believe in yourself. And and the only way to really to believe in yourself is to do the work. So it's really sort of like you just have to throw yourself into that deep end, and just like pull the trigger and do it. And and I would say, I mean, another way to gain confidence is, get your if you're starting out, get your friends and your family involved, hypnotize them, and work on the areas that that frighten you.
A bit of self-reflection there as well. Where are the gaps in my experience or my knowledge right now that I can start to expand upon?
Yeah. If you're afraid that they're not getting deep enough, or they're going to pass the depth testing routines, the eye closure, the arm catalepsy, things like that, I think that's invaluable to get the confidence that you're actually hypnotizing somebody. And that in and of itself, you don't have to spend an hour, just, you could create a little group of people that come and get hypnotized by you once a week, and you can hypnotize all 10 people, put each of them into hypnosis, and and then one at a time, work on this person, let this person have their their relaxation, and then work on this person, have this person work on the relaxation. I mean, the point I'm making here also is that there are an unlimited number of ways to work on your self-confidence. You just have to decide and realize, well, because sometimes a person may not realize that that's what the issue is, that they are, and so so you have to ask yourself, why don't I have, what's stopping me from having a full week of of clients, and and kind of work from there. And most of the time you're going to find that it does come down to some kind of level of belief. I think motivation comes down to lack of
I
belief.
agree.
If you believed that you could do it, you'd be motivated
I
to do
absolutely
it.
agree. Procrastination is exactly the same. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things you were saying there, which I am an absolute advocate for, is that if you're new to hypnotherapy, even if you're not even new to hypnotherapy, if you've been doing it for a while, having a mentor that you can talk to, who is able to reflect back what they're noticing, who can help to offer advice on expanding, the toolkit, or to slow you down. You're talking about people going and doing multiple courses, hoping that it gives them that confidence. You can have 10 tools in your toolkit, but if you're not doing one of them right. It doesn't really matter how many you have. It's better to slow down and have one or two that you do really well than those 10 that you're doing half baked, in a sense.
Yeah. And it's nothing to say that, I mean, I think going out yearly and getting sharpening the saw and
Yep.
actually going out and working on yourself,
Mm.
as well as gaining some new skill to add to your repertoire. I 100% believe in it. This is something we need to be continually
I agree.
um,
Yeah.
learning, but also just applying the learning, because it's nothing,
Exactly. That's the big
yeah,
difference. Is you can do 10 courses, but if you're not immersing yourself in it and getting the full understanding about what it is that you're doing, you're just going through emotion, as far as
yeah,
I can
because
tell. Mm.
yeah, because how many of us have gone to the conference, and then then we've got this notebook of notes, and then it just goes in the bottom drawer,
Yep.
and we don't look at it for the rest of the year, and then you're like, next year as you're getting ready to go, it's like, oh yeah,
Oh,
I
look at
forgot I
this.
learned
Oh, this
this.
has got some
I
really good
never
stuff in
even
this.
this was really great. I never
This
even
could have
used
really
this.
helped me with a client a couple of weeks back. Who would have thought?
Yeah. So, I would say that's another thing, is just literally when you learn something,
Mm.
plan in your schedule time to apply it. Like
Yeah.
literally, because if it doesn't go into your place of existence, and your
Mm.
calendar, I consider that's your place of existence. That's what brings things to life. If you don't put it in the calendar, write it down. Um, you're probably not going to end up doing it.
Mm.
And so, like literally, just just check in with yourself. Am I applying the things that I'm learning here?
Mm. Now, if people wanted to get in touch with you, Victoria, how can they do that? What's the best way to reach out to you?
I believe right now the best way to reach me is just going to my website, which is victoriamgallagher.com. From there, that's where, I mean, I all the things.
Mm.
My HypnoCloud app, my courses, my it leads to some of my hypnotic recordings, coaching, seminars, everything that
Mm.
that I'm working on, can be in my podcast, Power of Your Mind podcast. It's all there.
Which is fantastic, by the way. I should add to people to go and check that out as well. And as I was saying to people before, you have written many books. The two I know are just brilliant: The Practical Law of Attraction and The Ultimate Weight Loss Power Therapy Script Book. It's the best $20 you could spend on Kindle straight away. So I encourage everyone to go and check that out. And it's available in the UK, US, and Australia as well on Amazon. So well worth getting.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, you're in Australia. Amazon was trying to get my attention about something having to do with, now it can be shipped, the paperback can be shipped
Great.
from Australia now, because I guess that wasn't available before.
That is excellent because I can tell you now, I was having a word with James Tripp this week because he's just released his new book. And I pointed out that I ordered something from the UK November 2020 and it arrived March 2021. So the international postage thing at the moment can be a bit of a hassle. So the fact that
Hmm.
they've got something organized there is brilliant. That's fantastic news. Um,
Yeah.
Victoria, thank you so much for your time. I know it's a very warm evening where you are right now, so I really appreciate that you've given me so much of your time and attention to be able to chat on my podcast. And I really feel like people listening today are going to get some great value out of what you've said.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been my pleasure. And I look forward to coming to Australia at some point,
Please,
and
because
hope.
I thought you were supposed to come in 2019 for HypnoBiz, but of course it was just no, it was 2020. Sorry, and it was just pre-pandemic. So I can imagine that may have played part of the reason why we weren't able to see you in the end.
It was a little bit of the reason. In
Mm.
hindsight, I'm glad that I didn't end up going, because I would have had a hellacious time getting back
again. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we had people leaving throughout the course of that conference, sadly, and it was definitely testimony to both Selena and Helen Midas for still managing to keep it on track the way that they did. But thank you so much for your time, and
thank you.
Thank you to everyone who's listened. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks again for watching the Confident Hypnotherapist podcast. If you're on Facebook, why not come and find us at the Hypnotherapist Networking Group? It's a group that was set up essentially to help continue to develop our skills and to build confidence as a hypnotist or hypnotherapist. So if you're on Facebook, search Hypnotherapist Network Group. Come and join us. Look forward to seeing you there. Take care.